Hey, what's going on? It's Lee. I'm doing health researching, and I'm going to do my pranayamic breathing. You can do it along with me. I'm doing it to heal my acne, which I've had since I was 14, but it is looking way better, and I am 35 years old now. And while I do it, I'm going to walk you through it. The first one, since it's quicker, it's 5 minutes. I've heard it called fire breathing before. I don't know if that's really the name. There is an Indian Sanskrit name for it. But I don't know too much about all of the origins. I just know basically how it's done. While I do it, I'll walk you through it. So it's breathing in and then out, 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 out. And it's through the nostrils. So in, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then through the nostrils, back again. Both nostrils, out, 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 out. You may need a tissue to do these. Probably almost definitely need a tissue. Back in. Again, you're not forcing anything. You're breathing very naturally. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 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 out. Back in. Kind of makes a really weird noise while you do it, so I would not recommend doing it on the quiet section of the train or the bus or anything like that. People will be kind of like telling you to stop or looking at you weird. Out, 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 out. Back in. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 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 out. Back in. Like I said, I'm doing this for my acne, but it pops cancer cells. It has a number of health benefits. Definitely stay super skinny that I do this, which I'm almost too skinny, so I need to make sure I am eating healthy foods as well, drinking water, everything like that. Out, 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 out. I recommend doing it 3 to 4 hours after you eat, or in the morning on an empty stomach. Definitely works better when you don't have any food that you're busy digesting. The body's so busy digesting the food that doing this won't hurt it, but it's a lot more beneficial than doing it on an empty stomach. Out, 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 out. Again. This one's meant to be done max 5 minutes a day. I would not do it any longer than that. There's a lot of dangers doing some of these more complex exercises incorrectly, which is why I do just the simplest exercises that are so basic that I really can't screw them up. If you get a kind of a lightheadedness, I would either breathe slower, in or out slower, not hold it nearly as long, hold it for maybe 2 seconds instead of 5, out, 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 out. You're not breathing out through your chest. You're breathing out through your stomach diaphragm. So literally, your stomach is kind of like getting skinnier and filling up with air as you go. That's what you'd be looking at if I wasn't wearing a shirt. So you can see my hand going in and out as I'm breathing out. Back in. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 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 out. Back in. Now, if you don't do this every single day, again, it's not going to harm you in any way, but certainly has the best benefit if you do it 5 minutes a day. Back out, 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 out. Back in. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 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 out. Check out the website for more information and definitely a heck of a lot more research. uofhealth.webs.com, W-E-B-S. It's a free kind of website if you ever need to create a website for yourself and don't want to or don't have the cash to invest in it. You can just put that up for free. Back out, again. And some of the reasons why I did a free site is I'm not asking for any money. This isn't a click funnel to get you to buy some more advanced instructions or information about the program. It's literally a 5,000-year-old ancient Indian breathing exercise, mostly spoken through Sanskrit, which I do not speak. But I have a good friend that's Indian that taught me how to do this exercise. Out. Back in. And that's about 5 minutes of doing that. So I'm pretty much done. I'm going to hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then out, and then I'm done with that one. So do that for 5 minutes a day. Then I'm going to switch to alternative nostril breathing. Again, there's a Sanskrit name for that one as well. I do not speak Sanskrit. I'm going to plug one nostril closed. It's often you'll see it done with the thumb and the pinky. So I'm covering up one with my thumb. Breathe in. Again, not forceful, just natural breathing. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hold the other nostril with my pinky, and then out the nostril that I just breathed in from. Again, you will most certainly need a tissue after doing this for a half hour. Back in through the same nostril that I just breathed.
Turn right toward Hart Street.
In from a second ago, back in. This one's done a half hour a day, and it's 5 times in one nostril, out the other, and then switch 5 times in the opposite nostril and out the other. So that's 1 in, 1 out, and then 1 back in. So then I'm gonna cover up this one and breathe back out. You'll hold 5 seconds each. Again, if you get lightheaded, it's not a big deal, but maybe slow it down. Don't hold it as long, type of thing like that. Back in. I'm breathing in through my right, out through my left. Doesn't matter necessarily the order that you do it in, as long as it's about a half hour a day and 5 times each nostril. Out the other one. So that's my 3rd time out. Back in. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cover the one I breathed in. Back out. What else? So on an empty stomach. Oh yeah, if you don't have time to do it a half hour a day, or get distracted from it, or you're busy, super crazy schedule all day. I mean, if you just did this for, breathing in once and out the other one, literally 1 time, you will start to see the health benefits. But if you do it a half hour a day, 5 times each nostril, in the other one, out the other one, that's going to definitely give you the best results. All right, so I've been 4 times in and out. Go back in, 5th time. If you do 6 or 3 or something like that, if you screwed up, again, it's not really that big of a deal. But 5 and 5 is the optimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back out. So I just did 5 times in my right, 5 times out my left. You can kind of breathe in and out both nostrils, and just kind of take a breath from that repetition. Okay, now I'm going to cover up my right and breathe in my left. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you think about what is actually going on, is all the mucus or whatever you want to call it inside of the nose. Either you're blowing it out, and hence the need for a tissue, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're literally having the mucus that's in the middle of the nose or top of the nose or whichever like that go up through your nasal passages. I don't know the inner workings. I'm not an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor. But if you think about the mucus, and I know this is not necessarily the most appealing conversation to have, but just so you got to get the workings of it. Out the right, I think that's the 2nd one out. 3rd one in. Is essentially traveling from the nostril out and somehow getting back, because I can feel it in the back of my throat, getting into the throat, and then it's just going to drop down into the stomach, which is why people get a post-nasal drip, if you ever get that after sleeping. And the reason why postnasal hurts so bad is because you're lying down, versus if you're standing up or sitting. A lot of the yogis will tell you to do this sitting down. It's probably, I don't know, better to do it. I definitely see results walking, standing. I've been in a dirty subway and I've done this and still seen results from it. But anyway, if you're upright, the mucus can actually go into your body and digest properly. If you ever try to digest while you're laying down, it's really difficult. I don't remember what I was breathing in or out, but out. Back in. I think that's my 4th in. So if you get the mucus out of your nasal passages and digest it into the stomach, back out. It's 4 out. 5 in.
Turn left onto East Hazelwood Avenue.
Then you're able to have a lot more oxygen flow through to the brain. Now, when you breathe oxygen in through your mouth, that air is not going into your brain. It's only going into your body. The nasal passage is so important because oxygen can flow to the brain, which will then communicate to the body what the body should be doing versus what it's forced to do. The brain will have an easier time sending oxygen to the body than it would be if you're just a mouth breather and you breathe through your mouth all the time. So back out through my right. Okay, that's 5 times in and out. You may feel the need to, I gotta figure out what's a more aesthetically pleasing way to say, mucus and burping. You may burp throughout it. It just means that the body's just working that much better at digesting and cleansing toxins that are in the body. All right, so now I can take a breath in and out, just to kind of even it out, take a break from the rep. Then I'm back where I started, back in the right and out the left. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however long it takes before you don't want to get lightheaded. I'm not recommending you do that. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend doing this while you're driving. You should be pretty focused, relaxed, in a safe area. And then out through the left, in through the right. So fortunately for me, I have acne which I can actually see, versus a lot of people that have an internal disease, such as, let's say, Crohn's disease or cancer, something like that. And generally you won't be able to see that type of a disease. The doctor will diagnose and you probably feel it internally. Back in. I think that's 3 ins and now 3 outs. So with the acne, I do this, one day I notice the difference. If I take a look in the mirror this morning compared to after doing the breathing exercise, you notice the difference. I'll notice a pretty dramatic difference after doing this 3 days in a row. It's the first time I noticed it. I was like, all right, I'm really gonna get into this, and I did it 3 days in a row, and immediately noticed the acne just fading away. It's 4 outs, 5 in. So I do know that it's working. And you just gotta really believe through either Google researching or through me talking about it or any of the other countless people talking about it online, or if you know anyone that speaks Sanskrit, they can probably vouch for it as well. You just gotta know if you have cancer or Crohn's disease, for that example, or any number of internal diseases. Which acne is definitely internal, but fortunately, like I said, I can actually see it. If you have an external tumor, for example, that's something you can see. So you can actually see it, I don't know, shrinking is the right word, but decompressing and getting back to your normal, balanced, restored self when you were, let's say, 5 years old. There are 5-year-olds that have tumors and some breakouts, but it's typically not as bad as it is at this stage of your life or my life. Back out 5th time. You can take a break from the rep, breathe in, breathe out through the nostrils. So you just gotta, it's not that you have to believe, but you gotta keep at it. Keep doing it for that half-hour a day of alternative nostril breathing and 5 minutes a day of the fire breathing. Stay consistent at it, and the next time you go to the doctor might actually notice it and might say, hey, it's starting to subside, or you went from a stage 5 to a stage 4, or like my buddy who did this with cancer, he said that he went back to the doctor and the doctor said it's gone altogether. We can't even find it anymore. Out. Again. I'm doing in through the left, out through the right, 5 times in that direction. And I'm going to switch. I'm at about 11 minutes of doing this so far with the alternative nostril breathing. But even though you can't see it, if you have, like the example that I've been saying, Crohn's disease, cancer, even if you don't have an external disease that you can actually see on your body, you probably will start to feel it. Well, definitely less of a clogged nose. 90% of people breathe unequally between one nostril and the other. You'll feel more oxygen throughout, an ease in breathing. But I would say after 3 days in a row of doing this, you'll probably have a little bit more energy. You'll probably be a little more relaxed, maybe a little less anxiety. And anyone that I meet that has anxiety thinks that it's like them and their specific chemicals in their brain that they have anxiety, and not everyone has anxiety. And I think that anyone that says that they don't have anxiety is just thinks about it in a different way. I think you're human, and everyone has some level of anxiety. How you choose to deal with it is everything. But this is definitely shown to not necessarily lower anxiety levels. You got to get done what's making you anxious, or put it down on a list or something like that. But definitely balance the, for lack of a better word, stress. And I believe, look, stress, anxiety, like that's all really made up in language. In Spanish, anxiety isn't anxiety and stress isn't stress. It's a different word for that. In Sanskrit, it's a different word. Do you know what I mean? So it's all made up in language to describe, oh wow, I feel like there's something that I am not doing that I need to have done, and therefore I'm anxious. Like, that's all made up and descriptive, and we as humans created a language around what we're thinking, feeling, experiencing, etc. So I really think that it's all made up, and we choose to assign a certain meaning to it. So that's why I say, for lack of a better word, because stress to me might not be stressful at all to you, or things that are easy to me may be super stressful for you. So you kind of lost track of how many I did here, but it's all good. I think that's 4 in, 4 out. So this is 5. But it's really wild if you're overly hyper and want to calm down. Pranayam, both the alternative and the fire breathing, the in-outs, will calm you down. Whether you do these 2 exercises or 2 other ones, definitely you want to be doing at least 2 different exercises. It would kind of be like only doing biceps. You'd have super strong arms but like weak legs. So you want to do more than 1 exercise. At least 2 different pranayamic breathing exercises. Just to I guess there's no other example to it other than the fact that it would look really weird if you had massive calf muscles and skinny thighs, you know what I mean? So, okay, so now I'm breathing in and out. I'm done with that rep. In the left, out the right. Now I'll go in the right, out the left. 5 times in that direction. And, you know, I've done mini videos of this, of just how to do it, alternative nostril breathing, how it's done, and then the fire breathing, how that's done. And a lot of other people I see that do just an instructional video of how to do each different exercise. But I said to myself, might as well do a full-on of the 5 minutes of the fire breathing and then the 30 minutes of the alternative nostril breathing, because this is what I'm actually doing and practicing. Number one, you can do it with me. Number two, it keeps me accountable, because some days I'm not able to do both or any of it at all. But number three, I mean, it's real. I mean, it definitely takes the commitment to make any change in your life, right? So showing you exactly the 30 full minutes of the alternative nostril breathing and the 5 minutes of the fire breathing. I mean, this is actually what I'm doing. This isn't to downplay eating healthy, drinking water, or proper sleep, proper exercise. You definitely want to be doing all of that. It's 3 outs. 4 in. But I've seen a University of Michigan release a new food guide pyramid that put water at the bottom of the food guide pyramid. If you think right now, your general USDA food guide pyramid has grains at the bottom. So this put water at the bottom, and then fruits and vegetables, and then up the pyramid every other type of food that we consume. So I'm thinking, you know, based on the theory of you can live, you know, a certain amount of days without food, a certain amount of days without water, which is fewer, you know what I mean? What is it, like 30 days without food, 7 days without water, and then about, you know, a couple minutes without air. Tells me that oxygen is the most important lifeblood, and that's what pranayam means, actually, is life force. But the oxygen is the number one lifeblood to being human and to living. I mean, you know, plants will die without oxygen. Any sort of insect, all the way up to animals, will die without oxygen. Also without water and food, but oxygen is primary, you know what I mean? There, it's 5 in and 5 out. So I'm thinking the food guide pyramid's really oxygen at the bottom, then water, then fruits and vegetables, and then everything else. So if you think about that, then, you know, like I said, it's not to downplay, you know, proper sleep, which definitely adds oxygen into you, proper nutrition and exercise, which exercise is a great way to have more oxygen throughout the body. But, you know, opening up the nasal passages, and that's why you see all those you know, medical devices, whether you can get them at a local CVS, Walgreens, or you know, from an actual doctor, as you're cleaning out the nasal passages. That's why ENT doctor, ear, nose, and throat doctors, you know, have that stuff all connected, because it's all so close to the brain. And we need to care for it. So, you know, and the reason why this isn't even taught in, let's say, health classes, you generally this was discovered by people that speak Sanskrit in India, and thank goodness for the internet and more people starting to travel to India. It's becoming more well known in English speaking countries, or I'm sure it's spreading like wildfire in every part of the world. But 5,000 years ago, people weren't necessarily traveling to India like crazy, or not everyone spoke Sanskrit. So, it's taken a while to spread the knowledge. And now that we have so many people on the internet and speaking different languages and travelers, and the speed at which you can travel to India through plane, has been able to spread the word even more. But I truly believe that it should be taught in health classes. Okay, gym class, whatever, but definitely should be a very common practice. If you have no health challenges whatsoever, then by all means, I guess this will have you feel more energized, but maybe it's not necessarily for you. But I think, like I said, 90% of people don't breathe through their nostrils equally, so I'm guessing that 90% of people have some sort of health challenge that they deal with. Either they deal with it constantly, regularly, and think about it on a daily basis, or they don't. But I'm guessing that a good 90% of people do. So if that volume of people deals with something, I really think it should be taught to everybody. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I cannot force you to do this and then force it to be taught in the schools or anything. Share, like, and subscribe this video. Share with anybody you know that has a certain kind of health condition, and if you're not sure or a disbeliever, it's totally fine. I would recommend Google searching Pranayam and whatever health condition you're dealing with. If it's back pain, that's a separate conversation altogether, but equally as important as oxygen into the body. An oxygenated body is a less painful body. You'll have less body and back pain if you have more oxygen in the body, but there's a different way to have that oxygen enter the body than through the nostrils. I don't think that it wouldn't work if you just did pranayam every day. It quite possibly could heal the back pain, but there's a whole other video conversation about that. And if you want more info on that, again, it's all online at my free site, uofhealth.webs.com. U of Health, like University of Health, so uofhealth.webs.com. You also want to have a straight spine when you do this. Sit up straight. It'll allow the mucus to flow down to your stomach easier. So please like and share and subscribe. Comment if you've done it, if you've had success with it, if you've seen results with it, if you're skeptical of it, if you're hating on it, comment away. If you think I'm doing this incorrectly, comment away. Look, I know this isn't the way that the yogis or, experienced yoga practitioners would teach it. But this is the way that I'm able to, I don't necessarily consider it meditation. I do it specifically to heal the acne. But it's working, even though I'm not doing it by the book. You know what I mean? And if I work so many hours a day and the rest of the time I want to spend with my family, not necessarily breathing in front of them, which I do, but I would rather spend that time just building quality time with them, if I need to do that while I'm on the road and while I'm, doing my general day, then that's what I'm going to do. Speaking of it, this is my wife calling me now. But yeah, this is about 24 minutes of the alternative nostril breathing and the 5 minutes of the fire breathing. So I got about, 5-6 minutes left, the alternative. If you ever notice while you're sleeping, if you lie on your side while you sleep, I started noticing that after doing alternative nostril breathing for a long time, but let's say this nostril is really clogged up and I was lying with this nostril closer to the bed. It would be clogged up most of the night, maybe it would clear on its own. But if I flip and put this nostril that's more clogged up on the top, farther away from the bed, with this nostril closer to the bed, the mucus will literally, through gravity, fall out of my nose and go down my throat passages and go into the stomach, which would cause a postnasal drip depending on your body. But it will also give you the relief of a clear nose, being able to breathe. Not sure exactly the science behind nasal strips, but it's the same basic deal as far as you can be healthier if you just let the oxygen flow in through the body better, throw in through the nasal passages better. So
turn left onto East Melbourne
make
Avenue.
sure you follow the directions as far as holding your breath, and as far as doing it for a certain amount of time a day. You don't want to do the fire breathing for more than 5 minutes a day. Probably don't want to be doing the alternative nostril breathing more than 5 minutes a day, or 30 minutes a day. And you don't want to be holding your breath too long, and you don't want to be doing it unequally in, out 6 times, 8 times in and out, and then only 2 times in and out the opposite nostril or something like that. 5 in, 5 out, then switch, 5 in, 5 out, half hour a day. And then don't get lightheaded. Do it for less and less if you get lightheaded. You don't want to be forcing your breath. Don't do it unnaturally. Listen to your body. So a lot of yogis will say, oh, you shouldn't be doing it at all if you're not doing it correctly, exactly, sitting cross-legged, sitting down, straight back, forcing the breath. So there's certain things you could do that are within lenience, like the whole walking and doing it and standing up and doing it, and 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. But I would definitely not force it and not hold your breath for too long. I mean, those could be dangerous, but all in all, I'm not taking some kind of experimental drug or anything like that. It's not that kind of danger. It's literally just controlling the way that my brain receives the oxygen. So it can't be that dangerous, but there's some more complex breathing exercises where it's like in out, or breathe in as you breathe out, or I don't know too much about that stuff. Like I said, I just learned 2 very simple exercises. I keep it simple. But if you ever read about it being dangerous or about it giving heart conditions or something like that, that's specifically what they're talking about, is more complex exercises than simply the alternative nostril breathing and the fire breathing. If I'm making up that name, I do apologize for that. I mean, I know about how to spell these Sanskrit words in English, but I really don't think any of it's that important, as long as you have the instructions on how to do it. You know, by all means, I praise the Indians or whoever created or discovered this. And don't mean any disrespect to you whatsoever. You know, by the same accord, I got to make it work for what I need to get done on a daily basis, which is, you know, working and providing for my family, and then not leaving out the healthcare side of things. All right, so that's about 30 minutes of the alternative nostril breathing, and hope you're having a fantastic day. Comment, like, subscribe, be in touch.